anything 6 months out to the election that Joe Biden can do, not the economy the way we think about it, but the economy the way people talk about it in a poll, which is, you know, is there money left over at the end of the week? And yikes, that grocery bill is out of control.
I mean, unfortunately for him, look, there's some reality to think about that's going on, Leland, which is that economic cycles are cyclical. And the Federal Reserve has a lot to do with where the economy is. Granted, he made a whole bunch of mistakes early on. I mean, look, if you know you're going to have a conflict with Russia, you don't say, okay, well, let's turn off all drilling in the United States and clamp down on that, because what is that going to do? It's going to limit supply, thereby driving up oil prices. At the same time, you had the Federal Reserve continuing to print money, recklessly so, in my estimation, along with Congress giving out trillions, Joe Biden coming forward with a third stimulus check. So once the train leaves the station, this is why the Federal Reserve, if they're doing their job right, and they did not, should be measuring this quite carefully. And every time we got indications of inflation, what did they tell us? Oh, it's transitory, nothing to see here, don't worry about it. And so you had all this inflation getting baked in. The reason people feel so bad, and you can say the economy is great, I'd beg to differ only because of this inflation, because wages have not kept up with where inflation is overall. And don't forget, it compounds. So, okay, granted, we may not be at 9.6% inflation growth this month, but even if we're up 3% or 1.5%,
right,
again, these are all coming on the heels of the other. And so, yeah, people are saying, gee, a few years ago, I paid this. Now I'm paying that. And you're gonna pay that. I mean, we've got to get this tempered. We want to shoot for, say, 2% inflation, 2.5% inflation. We don't want 9% inflation, but you're not really going to see it come down.
Yeah. All right, so just to, again, be fair about this, and you think about the polling, handling of the economy, 64% approve of Trump's handling, 33% disapprove. Joe Biden, exactly the opposite numbers. Not to get too technical in terms of interest rates and everything else, but Donald Trump spent like a drunken sailor at very low interest rates, did nothing to long-term base the national debt, our government debt at those low interest rates. And he let the good times roll and benefited from it, and the economy, quote unquote, was great. People felt awesome under Donald Trump. How much of this is really Joe Biden's fault, and how much of this is he getting blamed for Donald Trump letting the good times roll?
Oh, I mean, he's raised corporate taxes. He's cut down on the amount of drilling that can happen. I mean, all of these things take their toll, right? So it's not, while the Fed, there's plenty of blame to go around here. Let me be very clear. But I would say that the president has the ability to have some impact. The problem is, Leland, it's too late at this point. If Joe Biden said, guess what, I'm going to offer a deal to onshore capital from all those overseas places where, you know, we've got stuff going on. Even if he did that, it's not going to happen in enough time to actually make an impact. Even if he said, I'm going to lower taxes for corporations and individuals right across the board, again, well, it won't make enough difference.
In fact, he did the opposite, right? He said today that the Trump tax cuts...
he's never going to do that. I'm just saying, let's play a little game.
Well, but no, he said today that Trump's tax cuts, when they sunset in 2025, they have to be reauthorized. If reelected, he's not going to go along with continuing the Trump's tax cuts. Take a listen to his press secretary.
There is a contrast here. There's a stark contrast to what we see, what the president has been doing, this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, and what Republicans are trying to do. They literally put out a budget that cuts Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and gives special interest groups, billionaires and corporations, a tax break. The president doesn't believe that.
I'm wondering, just in the way this works, Joe Biden seems to want to be a middle-class, working-class president, but at the same time, he needs the progressive elite class of voters to keep him in office. I don't think just purely from the laws of economics, which are not repealable, you can have both, can you?
No, I don't think you can. I mean, and again, I'll go back to the Trump administration. Whatever you think about Trump, by the way, he had some smart people there. My former co-host at CNBC, Larry Kudlow, was part of that team. He was surrounded by some really smart advisors. You had some, Cohn, actually my former boss at Goldman Sachs from years ago, Gary Cohn. You had good people, Steve Mnuchin as well. I think people that knew what they were doing when it came to the economy. I do not trust that this administration has really people they tend to be more political, how do I say, rather than economic. So if you get people that come from the business world, that come from Wall Street, they kind of get it, they understand it a little bit more. And so thus you had policies in place that, whether you want to say they were all Trump's or whether he just got the best people around him, whatever you want to call it, they did better for the American economy, including, by the way, the middle class. If you look at the numbers up until March 2020, when all HELL broke loose, what you actually saw was the median income for your average American expanded at the greatest rate it had in 50 years, Leland. And so that tells you a lot. Actually, you saw a depression in the wealth of the wealthy. And that was in part because they lived in California and New York. And guess what? Their taxes did not go down. Their taxes went up a lot, because he got rid of that loophole where you could deduct your state taxes. So unless you're in Texas or in Florida, you were paying through the nose. And that was a bunch of billionaires in California and New York.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.